Well, hey, it's me, Leo Laporte. Micah has the day off again this week, but we've got lots to talk about. Visits from Johnny Jett and Scott Wilkinson, our home theater geek. Not one, but two printer questions, and the case of the mysterious IR signal. It's all coming up next on Ask the Tech Guys.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Ask the Tech Guys with Micah Sargent and Leo Laporte. Episode 1990. Wow. Recorded Sunday, September 3rd, 2023. Labor Day weekend. Fatal error. This episode of Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by MyLeo. MyLeo Photos is a smart, powerful system that lets you easily organize, edit, and manage years of important documents, photos, and videos in an offline library. Hosted on any device, and it's free. Visit myleo.com/twit. And by electric e-bikes. Make every day feel like an endless summer vacation with an XP 3.0 from Lectric. Visit lectricebikes.com to learn more and explore the epic models Lectric has to offer. Well, hey, how are you today? It's time for Ask the Tech Guys. Once again, poor Micah Sargent, a little under the weather. He's doing well, but he had a little relapse of the old COVID. So it's just me today. Sorry, Ask the Tech Guy. If you would like to ask the Tech Guy, there's three ways you can. Of course, there's always the Zoom. Use your phone to and open the browser. Go to call.twit.tv. That will either open Zoom or it'll do it in the browser. We know your camera and microphone and your phone work, so that's why I like you to use the phone. You can use your PC if you know it works. Call.twit.tv. The phone number, and this is a normal phone number, okay? 888. Well, it's not exactly normal, but 888-724-2884. 888-724-2884. When you call that, you're going to get put into a Zoom room, so you'll be able to hear the program. And then when it's time for you to come on the air, you'll kind of sense a change in the atmosphere. What does he press? Star 9?
Star 6.
Star 6. Star 6 to unmute. Star 6 to unmute. And you will be on the air. Okay. We're going to take a lot of calls. We have a ever-growing stack of email. I didn't mention the third way. atg@twit.tv is the email.
Leo,
ATG.
there are two emails I want you to read.
The top two?
Yes.
Well, I'll get to the top two emails. I bet you. By golly. Well, we hardly knew it. 28 years in, and Microsoft's killing WordPad. I didn't even hear any sighs. That was the last free app that you could use to edit rich text on Windows or even Word documents on Windows. I liked WordPad. It was like a very simple Word. Now Microsoft says, well, just use Word, but Word's not free. So thanks very much, Microsoft. You, of course, still have Notepad, which is kind of the bare bones version of WordPad. I always used WordPad. I liked it for word processing. Anyway, 28 years, Microsoft announced today it will deprecate WordPad in a future Windows update because no one was working on it. How does that happen at a company that size? Hey, anybody want to do WordPad? No. Crickets? No. Okay. We'll just kill it. That's fine. These things happen. We are now 10 days away, 9 days away from Apple's September 12th event. I will be out of town for that event. But I think I can do the show from my mom's basement, which, is all podcasters know, is really the place a podcast should be done from. I will be in Cranston, Rhode Island. So Micah and I will do the event 10 a.m., if Micah's feeling better, a week from Tuesday, September 12th. He will be by then. And then immediately after Mac Break Weekly, we're going to see the new iPhone 15 USB-C connector. That's the big change. You can finally get rid of your Lightning. Oh, wait a minute. You still need it for your old Apple TV remotes and your AirPods. What do you bet Apple updates both of those? They did actually update the remote. They have that nice new remote, which is Type-C. And now they're going to have to update the AirPods and maybe some old iPads, that kind of thing. What else is going on? Kind of, the California Public Utilities Commission had a very contentious vote about a month ago in which they decided, it was a close vote, but they decided to allow Waymo and Cruise, the self-driving vehicles, to ply their trade in San Francisco unlimited. So they could have as many cars on the road as they want. They could operate anywhere in the city they want, and they could do it day and night if they want. And ever since, and I don't know if it's a coincidence or if it's activists or what, but ever since there have been stories about these vehicles causing problems. The most recent, on August 14th, 2 Cruise self-driving vehicles, no safety driver, no driver in the front, were stopped in the right 2 lanes of a 4-lane one-way street south of Market neighborhood. A victim had been hit by a car. All lanes were blocked because they had emergency vehicles in the other 2 lanes, and the ambulance couldn't get out. The Cruises would not move. They had to move a police car to get the ambulance out, and the victim died before they could get him to the hospital. Did Cruise kill the patient? Probably not. But this is yet one example, and it's happened before, of emergency vehicles being hampered by driverless vehicles. People in San Francisco have mixed opinions on this. Some think it's cool. It's a little weird if you get a chance to drive around Phoenix. I think LA now, San Francisco, somewhere where these vehicles are operating, to be driving down the street and look over, and there's still a steering wheel. It's a normal looking car except for all of the doohickeys on the top. But there's no one. It's like a ghost. There's no one in the car. It's just driving along. I guess it's cool. It seems to cause some problems. And then, of course, you probably saw the video of Elon Musk showing off his full self-driving vehicle when it tries to run a red light into traffic. And Elon screams, "Intervention!" Grabs the wheel. "Intervention!" Actually, he didn't scream it, but I commend Elon for his calm in the face of danger. I would have screamed, "Ah! We're gonna die!" But no, intervention. What else? What else is going on? SpaceX has launched, speaking of Elon, is going to launch satellites into space for Globalstar. That's the satellite company that provides emergency satellite service for iPhones. They're going to be launched by SpaceX. They're going to launch a $64 million deal for that one. But here's, to me, the most interesting news of the week. This is from the LA Times. Caltech, famous school, right, especially for science and math. Caltech, which normally requires that you have calculus before you can get in as a freshman to Caltech, they are going to change their incoming requirements. No high school calculus, chemistry, or physics class, says the New York Times. Caltech has a workaround. You can take those classes online, like Khan Academy, and show proficiency, and you won't have had to get those credits in high school. This is a first. For years, Caltech has been adamant that you have to have those basic classes. They're going to drop the admission requirements for calculus, physics, and chemistry courses if you don't have access to them in your high school, and you could take them somewhere else, like Khan Academy. Salman Khan, the Academy founder, said this is a huge deal for equitable access to college. I agree, especially if we see more schools doing this. 46 Nobel laureates at Caltech, and only a 3% admission rate. It's hard to get in. So I think that's more than just good news for high school kids who want to go to Caltech. I think that's really good news for people who are taking online courses, that could actually be a path to success. Those are great courses at Khan Academy. All right, coming up, Johnny Jett, we're going to talk travel. Scott Wilkinson, we're going to talk home theater. And I've got a review. You may remember back on the new screensavers when we rode our Segways around the city of San Francisco. Lisa and I had so much fun. So did Father Robert and the gang. Megan's there. That we ended up buying those Segways. Well, just 2 of them. And keeping them in our garage. And we had lots of fun. The kids had lots of fun. Lisa and I would go tootle into town looking like dorks on our 8-foot-tall Segways. But the batteries died a couple of years ago. And I found out after I searched around that it was going to cost I think $7,000 to replace the batteries in those Segways, which cost $7,000 each. And I thought, wait a minute, stop the insanity. This has to end, especially when I saw that the company that bought Segway, Ninebot, Chinese company, was selling the new Segways for only $1,000. In fact, I was able to get it on Amazon for less than that even. So I have a Ninebot Segway, and I will show you the difference between the original Segway and these new 10th the cost. It's almost a 10th the cost Segways a little bit later on. Phone number again, 88 87 24 28 84 hike. Maybe better if I put the parenthesis around the 888 724 2884. But let us take our first call of the day. Mr. John Ashley, producer man. I see some hands raised in the Zoom. What should I do? Let's send Dan on. Come on down. Hi, Dan. Join us in the Stargate. Ask the Tech Guys Stargate. Dan, where are you
Leo,
calling
can you
from?
hear me?
I hear you great. Where are you calling from?
Portland, Oregon.
Beautiful Portland. Hello. Welcome.
I'm hiking in my favorite state park.
Oh.
I'm out of breath.
Isn't it kind I mean,
you can
we
hear.
take this for granted, but here he is. He's hiking through the wilderness, but he's got the cell phone. You're everywhere you go these days. You could be reached or you could call us. I love that. Yes, I hear you great. Now take a breath. Oh, let's see. Let's see the beautiful Oregon Trail. Wow. Very nice. I'm jealous.
So this is Tryon Creek State Park in
Beautiful.
Portland, Oregon.
Beautiful.
I'm lucky enough to do this almost every day. Usually with my A7 IV.
Nice.
And a big long
Your
lens.
Sony camera. What kind of, you get nature shots?
I bring the long lens for the birds, but I have to say, for just about everything else, the iPhone really rivals any big 30-pound camera bag that I carry in it.
Yeah.
The iPhone just does such a good job with everything except those couple exceptions like birds and Astro and, some of those other niche.
Is Astro your dog?
Astrophotography.
Oh, astrophotography. Yeah. So extra zoom is nice, but also the Sony is super fast focusing on fast moving critters.
Oh,
critters.
yeah.
And that's
you get the bokeh or the bouquet or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You get, all the advantages of that full frame
I agree.
sensor are certainly fun,
Yeah.
but you got to weigh that penalty of a big, heavy camera bag as opposed to doing a quick jaunt with your iPhone.
I agree. Last trip we took to Europe, Lisa and I just took my iPhone. She took a nice camera. And I figured, well, if we want anything really good, she can use the Olympus to get those shots. And I was very happy. The fact that I had the iPhone with me all the time made a big difference. So, yeah, it's sad.
Hey, Leo, I was with you when you did the very first ever live stream of a crowd surf with a live you on your back.
You were at Stubbs Barbecue in Austin, Texas during the...
I was online.
Oh, you were online. Okay. You weren't one of the people buoying me up. It turns out after I did that, which is... I'm so glad I did that. It's something I'll look back on and say, yes, see, I did that. But it was, I didn't realize, highly dangerous. There have been many examples of people leaping into the crowd and not being caught. And so
you had an extra, 50 pounds on
I
your
had
back?
that big old
dropped hard.
live view backpack that was doing the live streaming. And then I remember I had a camera on a wizard staff. There is a picture of me leaping backwards into the crowd. What a mistake that was. But it turned out fun. And it is the first ever, I believe, and probably the last live stream of a crowd surf in the world.
I remember you also live streamed your first, I think, in-person meeting of Trey Ratcliffe.
Yes.
And you bumped into Tony, the founder of
Zappos, Tony Shea.
in the back room
That's right.
before you hopped on stage or
Yep,
leapt
that was at South
off
by
stage, I should
Southwest.
say.
Yeah, when I went to South by,
what a fun
Robert
time.
Scoble said, "Oh, forget the events, forget the seminars. South by is all about the parties." He said you should have a mobile rig and get the parties. So I took his word for it, and that's what I did. I carried around a camera on a stick. It was interesting, shall we say? We tried a lot of stuff in the early days.
That was fun, as well as your 24-hour live stream on New Year's.
Yeah. As Mike B in our
era.
IRC says, that crowd surf wasn't the last time Leo did something stupid. Remember shaving his head and getting a tattoo during the 24-hour as a New Year celebration. Well, tell me what I can do for you, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. So my mom is about the same era as your mom. And I've been trying to hook up her TV to some headphone solution for years now.
Yeah.
And it can't be Bluetooth because it's too complicated. When you plug in a mini jack, it steals the audio from the soundbar.
Right.
It doesn't seem that there's a good solution where you can just have a pair of headphones on the coffee table or on the side table and, pick up those headphones and put those on when you're having a little trouble hearing. And maybe other people are in the room hearing fine, but she needs a little help and just needs to put on a pair of headphones. And it doesn't seem you can do like two parallel audio streams, one to the soundbar and one to the headphones.
I think that's actually a limitation of the TV as opposed to the headphones. But I agree. I've had this same struggle. Mom needs headphones. Otherwise, she blares the TV so loud that the people down the block can hear it. I ended up getting her some Sennheiser wireless. These are not Bluetooth. They're RF. So that means she can turn her head. She can even get up and go to the kitchen or the bathroom and still hear. Not cheap. And I think you're going to have the same problem because I suspect these plug in to the headphone jack, which is...
Leo, I have those plugged in right now.
Yeah, that's what I got, Mom.
And they're in the mini jack port on the TV, and you got to go into the settings, and you got to select, your audio out, which she has no capability to go into the settings and constantly switch that back and forth. Plus, there's others in the room that would like to continue watching while she just needs a little boost.
Yeah, this is I agree 100%. This says connects to RCA jacks. So if you had, this is ridiculous. I don't have this for my mom, but if she had an AV receiver, she could connect to that. The problem really is that, or if you had a sound bar that had audio out, you could probably get audio out of the sound bar. The problem is the TV, this used to be the case. You plug in headphones, it mutes the other sound. And the TV has decided that's the right way to handle it when it's not. And that's a TV issue. It does say that you could plug into a 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch headphone jacks as well as RCA jacks. So maybe the answer is, does the sound bar, do you know, have any output?
It's a Sony. I got it to match the Sony TV, thinking, a matched pair would give me better luck.
Yeah.
But I don't think it has anything but, it's got the optical to connect to the TV. It's got the HDMI ARC. I don't think it's got RCA jacks anymore.
It doesn't have, or out. Well, even if it had out of any kind, you could get a converter. I think it automatically turns off, whatever other input source, the
as soon as
TV
you
does.
plug in something.
The TV does. But
maybe the sound bar.
But what I'm saying is, don't tell that. Yeah, as soon as you plug into the headphone jack on the TV, it goes, forget it. So I guess you could have a splitter. Here's one other way to do it. The best way to hook up a soundbar, as we now know, is HDMI. That's the highest bandwidth. Optical is second. I don't know how you're connecting it, but you could get HDMI, whatever you're connecting into the TV split into some sort of headphone amp and then use it that way. It's gotten really crazy complicated, I understand. And maybe more than it's worth. I had the same problem with Mom. I just said, Mom, sorry. When you're wearing the headphones, you're wearing the headphones.
That's where I'm at, Leo.
Yeah.
I'm an IT professional. It shouldn't be this difficult.
Well,
Come on.
a splitter would do it, and it depends just really on how much effort you want to put into it. The problem is as soon as you plug in a headphone jack, the TV says, "Got it. You don't want any other sound." So don't take the arc out of the TV or the optical out and split it on its way to the sound bar, and then that way, your sound bar will be fine. For instance, here's Scooter X has got a little link to an Amazon HDMI audio extractor splitter. It's a little box. The problem with this is, it does have out. So it's only $15. So this would plug it, I hope it would work fine. Plug into the TV. This end goes into the sound bar. And then you have a little headphone jack. And what this is going to do is, at least it's cheap, right? It's going to split it.
Plug your RF headphones then into that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Let me just.
Wow, $15. It's worth a try.
It's worth a try, I guess. This is.
They take things back. You can return them.
Yeah, Amazon's really good about taking things back, and then they burn them or send them to. I don't know what they do with them. They don't try to resell them usually. Yeah, this is from
TikTokers who make videos of pallet loads of returns.
Exactly. It's a wild channel. This is a VPFET makes this made up name. $15, HDMI audio extractor splitter. So that's probably the only way to do it because the TV is being smart and saying, "Oh, you're listening to headphones. I guess you don't want the soundbar anymore." So don't tell the TV. Plug in to the TV as normal. Split the output. You can get one for optical as well, depending on what you're using. This is cheap, $15.99. It splits off the audio into a separate channel. You know what? I'll get this from my mom. Actually, it's not going to be an issue anymore. How old's your mom?
She will be 83 New Year's Eve.
My mom is 90. And the reason I'm not going to be here in a week is because I'm going to help her move into an assisted living facility. And I suspect that she will be listening on headphones from now on because I'm sure it's an apartment. I'm sure that people won't want her to be blasting her TV. Although my guess is she wouldn't be the only one doing that. I do it too, by the way, now. I'm turning up the sound. Lisa's going, you can't hear that? It's kind of loud. So maybe
my wife and I already use the closed captions.
Yeah, we all do
of the time.
Even the youngsters.
And now I would love to have a pair of headphones to throw on.
Yeah.
But it's too complex of a setup. So, with all these boomers coming of age, and now I'm Gen X, we're going to come of age. And we've been listening to headphones since, the original Walkman. So
exactly.
We need this invention out there. Sony, are you listening? Sony?
Stop muting the
Sony?
TV when we plug in the headphones. Just please. That's all we ask. It's a TV function. And I bet you there are some, I'll ask Scott Wilkinson when he comes on in a little bit. I bet you there are some that don't do that. That's just up to the TV. And it's from the old days. You remember that when you have your stereo on, you're listening to Led Zeppelin, Kashmir, and you don't want mom and dad and your Cost Pro 440As to hear it. You plug it in and immediately the receiver mutes the speakers and you're hearing it on the headphones only. That's how it used to work. And that's how they continue to work, apparently.
Leo, I'm a huge fan.
Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your hike. How far is the hike?
Oh, my typical circuit here is just over 4 miles. So
nice.
About, an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, except when I get through to a popular radio show. That's a little long.
Very nice. Hey, it's a pleasure meeting you, Dan. Thanks for calling.
Huge fan. Take care, Leo.
Appreciate it. Call.twit.tv. See, it works. It's easy. You could also phone 888-724-2884. Where should I go next?
I did suggest an email.
Email. You said the top 2, huh? Those are the ones to read.
Now, why would I say specifically the top 2 emails, Leo? Think about it.
Because they're both printer questions. I already got it. HP 1012 laser printer, old friend, may be dead. From Red Ninja. Longtime listener from SoCal, retired graphic designer. Was very happy with my legacy. I'm shouting, aren't I? I have to turn up my headphones. Sorry. I'll calm down. Very happy with my legacy printer 2007. Oh, that is legacy. 16 years old. Connected to my 2017 iMac. Never printed more than 1,000 black and white copies. Aw. The printer finally stopped working. The 3 lights on the printer stay on, red, amber, and green. Print monitor displays. Printer needs attention. So I pleaded, praised it, threatened it. I even took the side covers off to explore its inner guts, thinking I could find a broken gear. The inside is clean. HP website does not supply any more updates. I hate to get rid of it since I just bought 2 new toner cartridges. Can anyone help? HP 1012. And all 3 lights are on. I guess that's the diagnostic. All 3 lights are on. So there's a couple of possibilities. HP, somewhat famous for, at least with its inkjet printers, saying, "Oh, it's dead. You got to get a new one now." After a few years, like even when nothing's wrong. My guess, though, that's not what's going on here. So you know how a laser printer works. There's a drum that the toner is. It's electrostatically charged. The toner's sprayed on it. It sticks only where the drum is magnetized. So that's the print, and then it prints off the drum. I'm going to bet that drum that can wear out. So I'm going to bet that's worn out. However, a 16-year-old printer, it's going to be hard to get parts. You might be able to go to eBay and find another 1012 you could scavenge parts from, since you say you're a do-it-yourselfer. That's always a possibility. But I'm gonna suggest that it's probably time. It's had a good run. I know you just bought 2 cartridges. That might have been a tactical mistake. Wow. I just don't know how likely it is you're going to be able to fix this. And HP is, obviously they just want you to get a new one. Any thoughts from our team tech guy? I'm gonna bet you, it's wear on. You said though you haven't print more than 1,000 prints. I mean, so many things. It could be electrical. Could be one of the circuit boards has failed. There was maybe a power surge. All 3 lights on does not sound good. If you can't figure out that diagnostic, perhaps you can get parts. I think 16 years old, you're probably out of luck. Here, by the way, is Tae Koo, which is, I think, short for Quartermain, who says he has an LG TV that will do both speakers and headphones at the same time. So it is a TV-specific thing, you see. He can have a couple of check boxes, simultaneously sound out with internal TV speaker. So it is going to be TV-specific. Thank you, Tay. Sell the toner cart. Wizard Link says, sell the toner carts on eBay, buy a new printer. I like Brother Lasers. He says, I do too. That's the laser printer I have. And the thing is, you probably paid for that old HP over $1,000. You can now get a good laser printer for a couple of $100. So I think that's probably the solution. We do have a link because we are completists here. We do have a link from the Discord, our Club Twit Discord. Scooter X has found the HP LaserJet 1012 service manual. How much farther should I go in this? Should I go to troubleshooting? Control panel, lights, that's what we want to see. Where's the 1012? Well, I'll do the 1010, maybe the 12. Control pattern, light patterns. There's where your information is. Look at those lights. Continuable error, attention state, fatal error. All 3 LEDs are on continuously in the fatal error state. Press the go button to see the secondary information for the fatal error. When you release the button, the printer returns to the initial fatal error state. So, well, you probably already knew this. Fatal sounds pretty end of life. Sounds like the end. Fatal error. But what is it? I understand you said, but wait, I want to fix it. Here's what fatal errors. Press the go button. the printer shows a secondary error pattern. If the attention light illuminates as the secondary pattern, the formatter and engine are not communicating. Check the ribbon cable. Replace the ECU. If the error persists, replace the printer. I think that we could probably cut to step 3. Profit. All right, you know what? Since you're gonna stack up all the printer questions together, aren't you? I know you're gonna do this. Oh, I dropped it. It's lost forever to the ages. Any tips on workarounds for printers not supported by Chrome OS? This is from Mike in the UK. This gives me a chance to do my bad Scottish accent. I won't do that. Long-time listener from over side of the pond in sunny Edinburgh, Scotland. Sorry, I can't call in live today. Any tips on setting up unsupported printers on Chromebooks? I like Chromebooks. Simple, fast to start up, secure, a great solution for many of the seniors we support. Oh, look at this. In the digital inclusion nonprofit that I run, which is tapintoit.org.uk. Tapintoit.org.uk. TAPINTOIT. Except when it comes to printer support. I'm great at everything except when it comes to printer support, like the Canon MG4250. I was trying to set up for an 88-year-old gentleman this week. It did say something about a PPD file. So Google killed. Google. Don't start me on Google. Google had a solution called Cloud Print, you might remember, that was for Chromebooks and Android phones where they would print to Google, the Google server, and then the server would be smart enough to send it to the right computer or a printer rather, and you could print to a printer. But now in that case, the printer had to support the Google Cloud. I'm suspecting that the MG4250 does not. So there's a couple of ways to do it. If the printer supports Wi-Fi, which most do, I mean, if it's a USB printer, maybe not. But if the printer supports Wi-Fi, you could put it in infrastructure mode. You could make it be a Wi-Fi access point. It'll be on the settings on the LCD. You put it in a Wi-Fi infrastructure point, and then it is a Wi-Fi access point. Your Chromebook will see it and should be able to print to it. So that's what Google wants you to do in lieu of Cloud Print. They killed it. Now, connecting, here's a Google document on printing from your... Oh, actually, this is not a Google document. This is a website called Chromebook, CHRM book. Print from your Chromebook without Cloud Print. So this might be we'll put this in the show notes. Yeah, he's talking about the Wi-Fi workaround. But if that doesn't have Wi-Fi, if it only has USB, I wonder if you can connect it via USB. Yeah, it looks like not, because in that case, it's going to need a driver. And the Chromebook doesn't really, I don't think it comes with a whole lot of drivers. Any other solutions, IRC, Team Tech guy? I think you're kind of stuck if your printer is not a Wi-Fi printer. If it is, you're almost guaranteed to be able to print it. You just have to turn on they have a name for it. I'm trying to remember what the printer companies call it. It's what the Wi-Fi folks call infrastructure mode, where it becomes, instead of a member of a Wi-Fi network, it becomes a Wi-Fi network of its own. And once it does that, your Chromebook says, oh, look, there's a Wi-Fi network named printer. I'm going to join it. And then it should, in most cases, be able to print to it as long as it can see it. Otherwise, what could you do? You could email it to another device. Yeah, print it that way. That's probably what most people end up doing, is just, make a PDF if you're worried about formatting, print to PDF and then email that PDF to somewhere else. I bet you there are people online who will print for you at some expense. Yeah, it's not ad hoc mode. There's a name or maybe it is. The printers call it ad hoc mode. Maybe that's what it is, Scooter X. Okay. Ad hoc infrastructure mode. let's take a little break. When we come back, Mr. Scott Wilkinson is coming up, our home theater geek. This episode of Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by Mylio. I want to tell you about photography, in particular about a dam I found. Digital asset management. I take a lot of pictures. You take a lot of pictures. I have a lot of documents. You have a lot of documents. The problem is they're all on that hard drive or your phone and in the cloud and all over the place. You'd like to organize them. You'd like to have them all in one place. And maybe, like me, you'd also like to keep them off the cloud, keep them private. This is the solution. Mylio, M-Y-L-I-O, mylio.com/twit. And it's free. It is the solution. And I can't tell you how amazing it is. I could just show you real quickly my Mylio. I have now over 200,000 photos in there because one of the things Mylio did that I really enjoy is it allowed me to download from my Google Docs. Look at all the ways you can organize. And by the way, it does it intelligently, and it doesn't send it to the cloud. Do we want hills? Do I have any hill pictures? I do. Do I have any pictures of Mount Fuji? Well, close. Looks like Mount Fuji. It's the pyramids. Do I have any other mountainous pictures? Yes, I have quite a few, actually. This is mostly, I bet you Mount Fuji. I know I have pictures of Mount Fuji in here. These are all the pyramids. I also can tag by person with eyes closed, eyes open, not smiling. This is an amazing, there's Kate and me. You see, I have every photo I've ever taken in here, 200,000 photos. I could share them, 206,750 to be precise. I could share them with different devices. I also have it backing up to my Synology NAS. You could back it up if you wish to any other cloud service, but you get to choose. You can encrypt before you back it up. You get to choose each device, whether it has thumbnails. See, it even tells you how much space it's going to take off. Optimized, or if you want, original. I don't have original. I don't want to waste the space on here. But anytime I see something that I want to edit, I can pull down the original and edit it. So I have full access. Oh, it even stores videos. This is the studio right here. Oh, this is that silly video I made the other day with that app on MBW. This is wonderful. I have to say, incredible, the solution here. These are photos I took on my phone without any effort. They're on my Mac. They go on your Windows, on your iPhone, on your Android phone. They automatically will tag and organize. You can organize it by camera and lens. You can organize it by any category, any person. I tag a few people, and then it then finds everything. Here's, in the 200,000 photos. This is an amazing. These are photos taken with my Canon. These are photos taken with a Casio. These are photos taken with my DJI drone. I didn't do any of this manually. Mylio did it all with AI. It is the most amazing organizational tool I have ever used. And did I tell you it's free and completely offline? Create your own backup system, decide how you want to do it. Put your photos on everything. It even imports photos from Instagram automatically, Flickr automatically. I was able to get all of the photos out of my Google Photos. I used Google Takeout. It read the files. I didn't have to do any processing, automatically imported them. And then using their very powerful deduplication tool, I eliminated the duplicates. So when I say I have 206,000 photos, that's 206,000 unique photos. I don't have to fumble through several libraries on several devices, everything I have. Plus, add your documents folder. It will automatically import your documents. It does optical character recognition. So if you've got PDFs or photos with text, it'll automatically turn them into editable text suitable for searching. I can go on and on. I think what you should do is you should download it for free and try it. They do have a Mylio Photos Plus subscription, which I did, which lets me use multiple devices. It has a variety of other features. They have very good photo editing, but it will also open automatically your photo editor. This is the digital asset management tool I've been waiting for years. mylio.com/twit. Don't wait. Preserve your digital legacy today. Get MyLeo photos for free on your computer or mobile device at our special address, mylio.com/twit. mylio.com/twit. So this is the best way to try it. Free, all those features for free, except for multi-device. And then if you want more, you can subscribe. Very affordable. I immediately subscribed. I immediately did it. I said, this is it. And I have it on everything, all my devices. mylio.com/twit. Download it for free right now. Could not recommend it more highly. It is, we used to get a lot of calls saying, oh, they killed Picasa. Google bought and killed Picasa. Yes. Google Photos. Well, that's nice, but I don't want to give Google all my photos. Yeah, I understand. Plus, it won't do half the things MyLeo does. This is the solution. mylio.com/twit. All right, more calls. I love it. We're taking a bunch of calls. Should I do, what do you get to choose, John Ashley? Because I got to give you something to do. He's the producer.
Should I? Robert on the phone.
I like Robert. Let's do Robert. Hello, Robert.
*6, Robert.
Remember to there he is. Where are you calling from?
Hi. Did I hit the *6 correctly?
You did. You're a star.
I am calling from Haines, Alaska.
Oh my gosh. That's great. When does winter begin in Haines?
Well, it's colder than it was 2 weeks ago. Alaska got its first snowfall yesterday, so not here, but up further north.
Yeah, so Labor Day, which ends summer all over the northern hemisphere, probably is the end of summer for you guys. Do you winter all winter there?
Yeah. Yep. I have a business here repairing heating systems and appliances. So yep, I'm here year round.
That's a good business in Alaska.
Yes, it is. Especially here. I'm one of very few.
How far north are you? Are you?
I'm you took a cruise up here last year and went to Juneau, didn't you?
Yes.
We're about 90 miles north of Juneau.
A little south of Skagway. Very nice.
About west of Skagway.
West of Skagway. Okay. Sounds beautiful. Yep. Well,
Skagway's about a 350-mile drive or a 9-mile flight from here.
9 mile or 9? Oh, as the crow flies. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we have to drive up through Haines Junction to up in Canada to get back to Skagway. So.
Oh, nice. You're right on a fjord too. That looks really pretty. How beautiful.
Yep, right at the end of the fjord. Yep.
Oh, that's great. What can I do for you today?
Well, I took the plunge about a year ago. Stopped using Windows and have almost exclusively used Kubuntu Linux. And there's a couple, 2 or 3 questions I have that I haven't been able to find answers to.
Mm-hmm.
With Windows, you can buy a CD or download software, and you actually know where it is. You have, the piece of software sitting there on your computer.
Yeah.
Is there a way to do that with Linux? Because with Linux, it seems like everything just installs, and where is it?
Well, there is a place where it is. I should tell you that there are several places that Linux stores binaries of applications. The easiest way to see it on a Linux is to check your path. So this is the same on Windows as well. In fact, all computers have the concept of a path, which is telling the operating system, when I want to run a program, I just want to double click it and run it. Where do you look to find that program? And it looks on the path. So if you, on your command line in your terminal, type echo space $path, it will give you a long list of directories. That's where they are, if you want to know. Usually, typically, depending on the version of Linux, it's in /opt or it's in /usr/bin. There are a few standard places. But I understand you also say, yeah, you're installing everything from the internet, which, by the way, is the future of installation, even on Windows, right? Is installing everything from the internet.
Right, but I've actually looked at those places. It seems like, and this might be what Flatpak is. With Windows, you get this one, because we have very slow internet here, and if I want to reinstall something, it might take an hour to download.
Yes.
I would like to be able to have it in a download folder somewhere and be able to reinstall it from that rather than having to re-download it.
Snap and Flatpak are two solutions to that. Same idea, that your app is much more like a Windows app. Now, here's the deal. I think that Linux has one big advantage over Windows. Windows is starting to catch up, which is the package manager. When you install Kubuntu, for instance, you're going to use apt, A-P-T, to install programs. Sometimes you use, the apt install or something related, but it all uses apt to install programs. And what apt does when it installs a program is it creates a manifest that says, here's the program, here's what I installed, here's the version, and you can run apt periodically and upgrade, and it'll upgrade everything it's installed. And that, I think, is a real advantage because on Linux, it's one line. It's the same thing on a Mac. I use brew to install stuff. So if I type brew upgrade on my Mac, it will say, oh, look at these things have gone out of date. Would you like to update them? And I'll say yes. So that is one of the advantages of a package manager. Windows is now, and it's updating these apps. Windows is now starting to do this. There was a third-party package manager called Chocolatey. Paul Thurrott, if you've watched Windows Weekly, has done actually, I think it was on Hands on Windows, has done a show about that. And now Microsoft has its own package manager called WinGet. And because the problem with Windows is you had CDs, you've installed from the store, you installed from a website, from all over the place. And Windows sprays, when you install stuff in Windows, it sprays files all over the place. Linux is a little bit more disciplined. So first, trust your package manager. If you're going to use Flatpaks, that's fine. Flatpak will also do the same kind of updating I'm doing right now with Brew. It will go out and say, well, here's all the things you installed with Flatpak. Let me update those. I have mixed feelings about Flatpak, but that's because I'm an old timer, right? So I think a package manager is, look, see now it's downloaded all the files. It's installing those files. So my Mac is up to date. I think that's really nice to be able to do that. Now, because I'm running a Mac, it's not doing that with the stuff I install from the Apple Store or install from the web. So it's a little bit of a hybrid system. But your Kubuntu will do that for everything you install, unless, and I would really look for the discipline not to do this, you install it manually. Then you're responsible for keeping it up to date.
Okay, now that kind of leads me into my second question.
Yes.
That updating seems to occur basically on its own, from what I'm seeing. Because it's
not
almost
exactly.
Every day.
You'll get a notification. Yeah, you'll get a notification
almost every day.
You'll get a notification from apt, and then apt has a GUI that it will. I can't remember what it's called on Ubuntu. It's a package manager or software install. It'll run, and you'll see a list of updates. And you're right, it's almost every day because, as you can see, you have a lot of stuff installed.
Right.
But that's good.
Now,
That's an advantage. Sorry?
Okay, that leads me into the second question. I have Kubuntu installed on a XPS 9720 laptop.
Very nice Dell laptop.
And I also have it installed on a Nook 10th generation i5.
Okay.
On the laptop, it does these updates and life just goes on like it's supposed to. But on the Nook, every time it does an update, it has to be rebooted.
Okay, so
a reboot is required.
In general, I suppose there could be something different about the Nook. I don't know. In general, with Linux, you only have to reboot if you update the kernel. If you're getting it may be that you're getting this Nook up to date, and once it's fully up to date, you won't have any more reboots. Usually, you don't have to reboot.
No, it's been a year. Yeah, it's been a year.
That's why. So it's getting them up to.
No, I mean it's been a year since I installed Linux.
That you're continuing.
So it better all be up to date.
I don't know. That might be something to check. I wonder if there's a setting that could say, "Now you should not have to reboot." Are you using Flatpak on both, or are you using the standard apt on both?
Well, no, I just discovered Flatpak. I've been using
Here's the reason Flatpak exists, and there are other technologies like Snap that do that too. But Flatpak is kind of the accepted one. First of all, it makes everybody happy because you can go to the Linux App Store, as I have here in Flatpak, and you can see apps and install them as apps. So you don't have all that command line nonsense, right? But the real reason is...
Yeah, I've been using Discover, I guess is what I'm using.
Yeah, that's fine. They call it Discover, right? Yeah. And then, yeah, the real reason for this is dependency hell. So unfortunately, and this is a problem on Windows as well, applications often need libraries or depend on libraries that come from elsewhere. And different applications might be using different versions of that library. And you get in dependency hell. These are called dependencies because they're dependent on those libraries. And then you get in this situation where you've got conflicting dependencies. And that's a real problem on Linux. So Flatpak is designed to solve that by having all the dependencies in the package. The problem is, of course, it's going to take up more disk space. That's the trade-off, but disk space is not exactly at a premium these days. So with the Flatpak, it is much more like the Windows install where pretty much everything you need is in the pack. You install that. You don't have to worry about Python dependencies, different versions of Python for different applications, things like that. So that solves it. I'm a big fan of just using apt and letting, or Discover, which uses apt, and letting it handle it because then it knows about everything. But yeah, Flatpak is a good solution, and you can use both. By the way, you don't have to.
Yeah, the main reason I'd like to know that is because, like I said, we have very if there's a cruise ship here in town, our internet's like 20 kilobits.
You mean they all get on the Haynes internet, and that stinks. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
How often is it?
Even like today. Even like today, when there's not a cruise ship in town, it's very rarely above 4 or 5 megabits.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. You probably don't have a big fat pipe back to the continental U.S.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
One other thing that you helped me with about a year ago when you were still on the radio, Paramount. I called you about Paramount Plus and getting the locals out of Seattle.
Yeah.
As opposed to here because of not being able to locate correctly.
Right.
I finally figured something else out about Paramount Plus. They kept telling me that it could be mirrored or casted onto a television screen.
Yeah.
And I finally got someone after a year and a half to tell me, no, it cannot be.
It drives me crazy. That's because they don't want to. They're trying not to get in trouble with your cable company. See, that's the real problem. Paramount Plus is owned by NBC Universal, which is owned by Comcast. So they don't want to get in trouble with the parent company by allowing you to, because they want Comcast to sell cable subscriptions too. This will all change. The cable companies, I think, have finally seen the writing on the wall. We're history. We are internet providers, and they've kind of biting the bullet. But streaming is also suffering. I mean, we're going to go through a disruption period of 5 years or so where everything is all crazy. Paramount Plus is not NBC. It's Viacom. Okay, sorry. Doesn't matter. Same problem.
Yeah. Well, the strange thing is, though, with this is I have an older Motorola phone that has a desktop mode on it, so it gives the HDMI out over USB.
Oh, there you go.
But about a year ago, purchased a Pixel 7 Pro, which does not do that. And with the Pixel 7 Pro, even if I go to the library and download stuff from Paramount Plus, it can't mirror it, and it can't cast it. It tries to re-download it as I'm watching it. Right. But on the older phone, or the older that has the HDMI out, I can plug the HDMI out, or the HDMI over USB-C. I can plug into a cable to convert to HDMI. I can then take that HDMI, plug that into an HDMI to USB cable, plug that into my video server. So I'm actually getting digital video into my computer.
You're devoted.
And then plug that computer into an HDMI cable. But that's allowed, which is really strange.
Well, they think, and somehow you're getting by it, they think that the HDCP copy protection will keep you from doing that. Viacom's a cable company, just like Comcast. And even if it weren't, these guys don't want to annoy the cable companies. So they really say, this is streaming. You can't put on the big screen. Now, you could, and this is how I watch it. I have an Apple TV. You could get a Roku or Apple TV or Fire TV and have Paramount Plus on those and watch it on your big screen TV. You just have to pay for it.
Well, but then that uses my home internet, which isn't fast enough. I go to the library and download from the library.
Oh, I see what you're doing. You're downloading and then going home and watching the downloaded thing. I get it.
Right.
I get it. Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise,
that's the only way you can do
watchable.
it. Yeah. Get a Plex server or some sort of media server. Sounds like you've got that. And you just put them on the hard drive, and now you can watch them on your big screen TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you get for living in the beautiful part of the world, right?
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a universal complaint. I live in a beautiful area of the country. It's a rural area. We got no internet. It's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
We need to fix that because, as you understand,
yeah, I can get wired. I can get wired internet. It's still limited to 600 gigabytes per month, but it's also $140 a month.
Yeah, probably they're paying for the satellite.
So I use AT&T. I use AT&T cellular. I use AT&T cellular off of my because I get unlimited hotspot.
So just stop watching TV and go fishing. That's why you live in Haines. No, I understand. I'm sympathetic, and honestly, I think internet access at this point is not a luxury; it's a necessity. And so the solution really is. And the FCC is working on this. The infrastructure bill had billions of dollars. Alaska's got money. It's got good oil money. I would hope that Alaska would spend some energy getting a faster connection to the mainland.
Well, we're kind of lucky here as compared to the western part of the state because the first part of this summer, somebody drug up, I guess with an anchor or something, fiber cable that went to the western part of the state. And they didn't have internet or telephone for almost 6 weeks.
Yikes! You're living on the hard edge of the world. That's great. That's where you wanted to be, and I think it's fantastic. Enjoy. That's all I can say. Enjoy. Go ahead and use Flatpak if you feel better using Flatpak. It's the nice thing about.
But even with Flatpak. Can I download it and actually see it and then tell it to install it?
I see. You want to? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's a file. In fact, it's true. Even
it's a file. Okay.
It's a file. Even of the apt files, they are files. So you just have to to download the binary files. So yeah, I see now what you want to do. You want to go to the library, download these binaries, and then bring them home and install them on the two computers. That makes sense. It does mean your updating is more complicated because, you have to kind of manually update. But honestly, I think that's fine. All it means is you have to kind of pay attention if there's security issues and stuff and make sure you get the latest updates there. We are fat and happy down here in the lower 48 because we just update all the time. But I understand now why that's an issue for you. Don't worry about it. Linux is very secure. Just keep, listen to security now. And if Steve, yeah, just listen to security now. And if Steve says, "Oh, you got to update OpenSSH," then you can have to go to the library and get an update. I think you'll be all right. Don't worry so much.
Well, thank you.
Enjoy the beautiful Alaska winter on its way. Hey, a pleasure to talk to you. Yeah. Thanks, Robert. Take care. I think it would be a good time to say hello to our home theater geek, Scott Wilkinson. And I might even ask him about this audio thing. Hi, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How you doing, man?
We haven't seen you in a long time. How's the new house?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Love it.
Just loving life in Santa Cruz, got to tell you.
Oh, I bet. There he is. And you're slowly adding to the ambience of your studio
behind me. Yes.
Yeah, nice. Very nice. And I like it that you're wearing your Twit shirt. How's
you
it
very
going
much.
on your show, by the way? I don't know if people know, but we brought Home Theater Geeks back in Club
I'm
Twit.
so happy about that.
And you're doing it every week now. You record it ahead of time. You do a batch.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And it's a Club Twit show. And so, if members of Club Twit can come into the Discord and watch us record.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
How
many shows at once do you do?
I do usually like 4 shows at once.
Okay.
Although normally they're on Thursday afternoon, but this, I think a week from tomorrow, we're going to do a special show with a guest who will have just come back from the CEDIA trade show. And there's some interesting stuff going on at CEDIA this year.
Nice.
I was unable to go, unfortunately, but I've got a good friend. My good friend Mike Heiss will be there.
Oh, good.
You know Mike.
I know Mike well.
Yeah, he's a great guy and a great journalist and knows his stuff. And he's going to go scouting for me and come back on Monday. We're going to record a special show with his impressions and what he saw
Fantastic.
At CEDIA. So that's going to be great.
Yeah. We usually put your record information in the Club Twit events. I don't see it there now, but it'll be there. So that's how you can keep up in that. In fact, if you're not a member of Club Twit, I should point out that September 7th, this Thursday, is our fireside chat with Daniel Suarez and Hugh Howey about their books. 2 of our favorite sci-fi authors. Scalzi's coming up later in the
Oh, man,
year.
that sounds great.
I know. And a little note, Hugh Howey was or is at Burning Man. So whether whether he'll make the Thursday record, I don't know.
Oh, now that's a good question. Is he going to get out or not?
Well, as you know, they closed exit and entrance of Burning Man. 70,000 people stuck there because of torrential rain over the last couple of days. And
Inch deep mud
it's
everywhere.
just a mud pit. Although you saw that Chris Rock and Diplo walked the 5 miles through the mud to the interstate and thumbed a ride. Must have been something to see. Wouldn't it be funny? You're driving along I-35 and you go, that can't be Chris Rock? Wait a minute, let me see.
That couldn't
It's Chris Rock, everybody. That's a story for the rest of your life. I gave a lift from Burning Man to Chris Rock. So, Scott, before you get into the subject that you wanted to talk about, I don't know if you saw earlier, comes up a lot. A listener with a older mom like mine who needs headphones to watch her TV. And every time he plugs the headphones into the TV, it cuts out the sound of the sound bar so nobody else can watch at the same time.
Yep.
That's a TV function, isn't it?
It is. And in fact, somebody sent in a question I was going to talk about today about a slightly different topic. But as I was researching it, I discovered that TV, which is an LG 48CX OLED, has an option in the sound menu to output its sound to both the headphones and the speakers. So that's a setting in the sound menu that you can set to say, send it everywhere. So that may or may not be possible on the TV that the listener is. Yeah. Because sometimes it is, sometimes it's not.
That's what I kind of came to the conclusion. And he could always get a splitter. I think that's what we ended up.
He could,
If you don't have that feature, but the LGs do, which is very, very nice.
Yeah. At least the more recent ones.
Yeah.
The CX is, I believe, 2 or 3 years old.
That's the one I have. I should check. Yeah. Mom, I saved money and I got her a TLC, so I'll have to see.
TCL.
TCL, rather, yes. TLC is Tender Loving Care. TCL is
which you expressed to your mother by getting
I gave her that
TCL.
by giving her a TV. That's right.
That's right.
So what's up in Scott Wilkinson's world today?
Well, first of all, I wanted to ask you, I heard that you went and saw Oppenheimer.
I did.
Down in San Francisco at the IMAX Theater, the AMC Metreon.
I did the 70 millimeter film version.
One of the 30 IMAX 70 millimeter film theaters in the world.
And that's why we did it, because Christopher Nolan, the director, had said that's the only way to see my movie.
It's the only way to see it.
It was big. We were in the 5th row from the front. I thought we were in the 5th row from the back.
Man.
And then I looked more closely and I realized, I called my friends and said, we're sitting in the front. They said, that's okay. So the very first shot is a close-up of Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy's head. And it is big, I hope it's not going to be like this the whole time. But the other thing, I don't know if anybody's mentioned, I have on my watch, Apple's smartwatch, the sound monitor. And the sound level went to 99 dB several times during that movie. Hearing damage level, very
exactly
loud.
Right. Exactly right. Now, the question is, what was the average? Does your watch record at the average over a period of time?
I don't know. I don't. It just says it warns you when there's a peak.
Yes.
Yeah, let me see.
And 99 is very high. You don't want to have too many of those.
Yeah, right now it's 38 dB in here. Oh, wait a minute. It just got loud when I started talking. Right. I'll have to look and see. It's probably on my phone, not my watch, but I'll have to look and see if it recorded the average. I'm sure it did. I mean, it's recording all the time. That's how it knew that we had peaked.
Right, exactly. Well, if the average stays at around 85, then they are in compliance with the guidelines for movies, which is the same as the guidelines for workplaces. 85 dB is considered safe for 8 hours of exposure.
Okay. So
and
here's the graph. I don't know if they did the average, but here's the graph. I don't know can you see over my shoulder? Do you have that one set up? And it looks like it was between 50 and 100, but when it was at 100, it was at 100 for a long time.
Yeah. 100, you don't want to be exposed to that for more than a few minutes.
Well, I have to say, I wish I had brought my earplugs.
Yeah.
To be
the other question.
Here's the average. Here's the average. Good. This is the last 7 days. It's okay. 75 dB for 2 days. The average sound levels. So I'll have to go back in time and look at the history and see if it's got, because
if you can find the average of the time, just the time of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is a 3-hour movie.
Oh God, it's just so long.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you find the dialogue difficult to understand?
Not at all. It was quite loud. No, I did not. No, I did not.
Okay, because a lot of people are complaining about this.
Well, Nolan's famous for this inaudible dialogue.
He is.
In his Batman
And in fact,
movies.
he made a point of saying about Oppenheimer, I recorded the dialogue on set, and I absolutely refuse to have my actors come in and re-record it in the studio.
That's very unusual. I think people may not know that in movies, because there's so much noise from the cameras and other things, they often loop the dialogue. The actors come in after the fact and loop the dialogue, and usually it's indistinguishable because it's the same person and they're carefully matching.
And they're watching themselves, and they're exactly. But he doesn't do that. He says, I want the emotional performance.
That explains. Yeah. I have also seen reviews that said this was not as hard to understand as other, like Tenet, or it wasn't as bad as some of Nolan's.
Interstellar was really bad.
Yeah, Tenet was the worst for me. But I didn't know. I didn't even notice it. I was able to understand what was going on.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. My podcast, I believe, posting next week, I think, is my show on, or no, maybe it was last week. Anyway, it's on the Oppenheimer question. I got a question from a listener who said, why is it so hard to understand?
Well, that's good to know.
He even went to 2 different theaters.
He doesn't do looping. It might be that it was better on the IMAX because the sound is better at the IMAX, right? I mean,
generally speaking,
we were right in the middle. And because we were so close, we were getting optimal sound. You'll be proud of me. This is my keychain. I do keep a pair of earplugs on my keychain.
Good for you.
Because I am very I have tinnitus. My ears are ringing constantly. I don't want them to get any worse.
Correct.
So I do have these earplugs. And even when we just go out in an evening and there's music at a restaurant or bar, it's often very loud. And so I carry these on my keychain because I do
Good for you. I applaud you.
I did not have them in Oppenheimer, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
So I just had to suffer. To be honest, I didn't notice until I saw it on my watch. I didn't even notice because it's atomic bombs exploding. Of course, it's loud.
I know.
Of course, it's loud. I really enjoyed it. I think it could have been an hour shorter. It was probably, he did not, among other things, nobody tells Christopher Nolan how to edit his movies. And so
right.
I think he could have used a little editorial help on that. But It's a great movie. And you know what? It'll be great to watch even in the comfort of your own home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, I don't have in Santa Cruz. I love living in Santa Cruz, but we don't have an IMAX 70 millimeter film theater here. The closest one is probably San Francisco.
Well, I want to see it also because I felt this is probably a format that isn't going to last much longer.
Well, except people like Christopher Nolan are supporting it and using it.
Yeah, but there's a handful of directors who have the clout to get movies made that way.
Correct.
There's only 30 theaters in the world. There's not much incentive for Sony or Paramount or anybody to make a movie like that. It's more expensive.
Yep.
So you have to have enough clout to say, I don't care if it's going to cost you. I want it this way. And I don't.
Right.
There's going to be a handful more movies like that. When IMAX was originally created, especially this giant 70 millimeter IMAX, it was for nature movies, short nature films. It wasn't intended to be for motion pictures. That came later. And
it's true. Now, you did get to experience the movie exactly as Nolan wanted, which is there are some scenes that are wide and there are some scenes that are much taller. And
so I had seen his Dark Knight in the same theater. It was very annoying because it switched.
Yes.
And in fact, as I remember, it was also 3D. So they would say, okay, put on your glasses. Okay, take off your glasses. It's
man.
I want to enjoy a movie. I don't want to have to do an exercise class.
Yeah.
So this one, it was seamless. There was no sense of, in fact, I had to remind myself, look at the picture, look at the screen. What's the resolution? Does it feel, it's more than 8K. Does it feel like you're really seeing the detail? And I have to say, especially in the close-ups of actors' faces, maybe a little too much detail. They're brave to do that because it is more detail than you see in real life, even if you're nose to nose. It is huge. It's like under a magnifying glass.
Well, it's been estimated that IMAX 70 millimeter film has a resolution equivalent to digital resolution of 16K.
Wow.
Which, most of us at home these days who have a modern TV are at 4K.
Yeah. It looks really good. And I love that he did a lot of it in black and white. They had to invent a black and white 70 millimeter IMAX film just for him. And so there's stuff shot in the period that's black and white and, kind of documentary style. And that was, by the way, the 16:9 stuff for the most part, I think.
Right.
And it was good. It was very helpful. Unlike some of Nolan's other movies, there was no trouble like Inception. There was no trouble understanding, or Tenet was the worst, what was going on. I understood what was going on.
Wow. Well, that's great.
I think he did a
Tenet
good
was
job.
Difficult because of the conceptual issues.
Time kept going backwards and forwards, which he loves.
Yeah, right.
He loves playing with that.
Yeah,
stuff.
True enough.
I respect him as a director. I think he's very good. I think he could have used a little editing on this. It is a great subject, and philosophically, it's a very important film. And for that reason alone, I hope everybody gets to see it. Doesn't have to be 70 millimeter IMAX. It'll be fine on your beautiful LG CX screen.
That's right.
Was there anything else, or does that cover the waterfront for Mr. Home Theater Geek?
That covers the waterfront for me.
It's so great to see you. Please give my love to your wife.
I sure will.
And we're looking forward to Tuba Christmas, just a few months off.
Tuba Christmas, just a few months off.
Are you going to do it?
I am. I'm going down to LA to do Tuba Christmas LA.
Awesome.
And it's going to be great.
Awesome. So we will, of course, let everybody know about that as we get closer to the event. Usually early December. And
December 3rd this year, Sunday, December 3rd. So we will, I'll certainly talk about it on this show.
I can't believe we're getting close to Christmas.
Can you believe it?
It's Labor Day weekend. This is it. Summer's over. Back to work.
Back to work. That's right.
Scott Wilkinson, Home Theater Geek. Make sure you watch the Home Theater Geeks if you're a Club Twit member. If you're not, twit.tv/ClubTwit. $7 a month. You get all of the shows ad-free. You get Scott's show. You get Hands on Macintosh with Micah and Hands on Windows with Paul. I mean, so much great stuff. All those events. That Hugh Howey event coming up with Daniel Suarez this Thursday.
Assuming he gets out of Black Rock City.
I think he's going to get out. I think he will have some tales to tell. Let's put it that way.
Indeed. That'll be fascinating.
Yeah. Might be worth tuning in just for that.
Just for that.
Twit.tv/Club Twit. And Ant is telling me in our Discord, we want you to vote on the next book club book. If you're a Stacy's Book Club fan, good news. Stacy's going to keep doing it. I know she retired from her podcasts, including This Week in Google, but she does want to keep doing the Stacy's Book Club in our club. So 4 more days to vote if you're in Club Twit on the next book. We've Always Been Here, More Perfect, or the Kaiju Preservation Society. That's always a lot of fun. Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute now. Somebody, Tech Dino, has a question in IRC, says he wants you to answer.
Okay.
Let me go back and look and see if I can find it before we let you go. We are a full service podcast here.
Indeed.
What about
The question is, what is the model of earbuds that Scott recommended some months ago?
I could have answered that one. So you recommended some inexpensive and good earbuds. Was it the One Mores, or what was it that you recommended?
One Mores, certainly. You're talking about true wireless earbuds, presumably. I use One Mores.
These are very inexpensive, and you say
under $100, I think.
Sound almost as good as the big boys.
Oh yeah. Oh, at least as good. Yeah. They're very, very good.
So
they're my go-tos. That's what I use when I go out on walks and whatever. So
there you go, Azabot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the numeral 1 and then MORE.
Yeah. .com. And you can see,
really,
I mean,
really
they're
good.
all mostly under $100.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing for if they're as good as you say they are. And I know they are. I bought some One Mores on your recommendation, and I had to agree they were really spectacular sounding.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott Wilkinson.
My pleasure.
Home Theater Geek. You're
See you next
watching
month.
Ask the Tech Guy. Micah has the day off. We'll have some more calls, emails, questions at 888-724-2884 in just a moment. This episode of Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by electric e-bikes. I like electric. We have electric vehicles. We love our Segways. But in my opinion, after going through all the different kinds of electric vehicles, I think electric bikes are actually the sweet spot for mobility, comfort, safety. Normally, they're very expensive, but electric e-bikes has great e-bikes starting at $799. Now, I know it's Labor Day, but let's make it an endless summer with electric e-bikes. Keep the good times rolling with electric XP 3.0. This is the most popular e-bike in America, packed with premium features, including both a smooth pedal assist and a twist grip throttle. I like having a throttle for pure power at your fingertips. Here's where the throttle's great. Well, when you get tired pedaling, for one thing, but when you're at a stoplight and you got to get going fast, it's so nice to have an e-bike. You turn the throttle, you're going full speed right away. The pedal assist means you don't have to ride the throttle. You just pedal, and it senses when you need a little help, a little not. I'm right here. I'm on the electric e-bike cargo bike, which has a little extra torque so you could tow some heavy gear like those boxes. But the electric XP, in fact, I'm going to show this to you in a second, is foldable, which is so cool. You could put it in the back of your car. With the XP, you fold it up, find a great place to ride. There's bicycle trails everywhere these days, and you can have an on-the-go adventure. Watch, I've got it in the trunk of my Mustang right here. This is so cool. You lift it out, you unfold it. Yes, I can even do it myself, just like that. It locks in place, so it doesn't feel like you're on a folding bike. It feels like you're on a sturdy, regular e-bike. But boy, is it a great way to get around. You don't even need bicycle racks. Completely adjustable. They have quality feature-filled models financed as low as $73 a month. Powerful removable battery. I love that bright LCD. The lights are powered by the battery, so you always have safety lights going. 7-speed gearing. 5 levels of pedal assist to power your ride. I love electric bikes from LECTRIC ebikes.com. The XP 3.0, the most popular e-bike in the industry, newly reimagined, starting at $999, featuring a 28-mile-an-hour top speed, pure throttle on demand, updated programming. Oh, I forgot to mention hydraulic brakes, which are really nice for smooth stopping. There's Micah on the XP. The Cargo, which I was riding, there you go, on the white bike. If you've got stuff to haul, by the way, they come in many colors. The Expedition Cargo e-bike makes it easy. 450-pound capacity, so you can bring everything, even the kids, along for the ride. And there's also a trike now. They just added the first fully foldable, fully assembled electric bicycle, the XP Trike, with a third wheel for stability. Great for us older folks, a wide range of abilities and preferences. Make every day feel like an endless summer vacation with an XP 3.0 from Lectric. Visit lectricebikes.com to learn more and explore the epic models Lectric has to offer. LECTRIC, lectricebikes.com. They are really fun to ride. After trying them all, even electric car, I mean, obviously, if you're going hundreds of miles, you need an electric vehicle, but just for getting around. In fact, when I was in Rome, everybody in Rome rides a Vespa, right? And there's all that gas in the air, but I'm seeing more and more e-bikes in Rome. It's perfect for getting around town. It's just perfect. And so, just kind of a natural way to ride around. I really love it. They do have an Expedition battery, a dual battery that lets you go for long hauls if you want to. All right. Now, my friends, we can go back to the calls. Let's go to main man Micah, our airplane enthusiast. Hi, Micah. I see him, so I know he's there.
Yes, you should be able to hear me, too.
And I hear you. Hi, Micah.
Hey, Leo, thank you so much for taking my call. I was actually hoping to get on with Scott because this question that I have might be something he can help me with as well.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry.
I tried to put a note in the chat room, but, you guys are too busy to read all that stuff, and I certainly get that.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I've got a poltergeist in my bedroom where I have a number of IR receivers and a number of IR remotes. There have been 2 different times now where the IRs don't work. And it doesn't matter which device I'm using or which remote I'm using. They're just not working. I check the batteries. Batteries are fine. I make sure all the remotes are not touching one another and not pointing anywhere. Fine. I turn off all the lights. I pull the shade so it's perfectly dark. Nothing's happening. And that happens for a few hours or a few minutes or whatever. And then all of a sudden, it all comes back.
Wow.
And I can't for the life of me. I've done everything I can to troubleshoot, and I can't for the life of me figure out what it might be.
Are the remotes controlling different things?
Yes, there are 7 different remote IR devices in the room, and there are 8 different remotes.
All of them stop working.
All of them stop working. Every single one of them, whether it's a Wi-Fi radio or the sound bar or the TV or the cable box, all with different remotes. I can use the individual remotes, or I can use the group remote that I have from Spectrum. I hate to say that word, but
yeah, Spectrum's in the doghouse right now because you just lost all your ABC, Disney, and ESPN content.
Yeah, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And again, I've checked everything, and I can't figure out what it might be, or if you have any thoughts on what else I can do to troubleshoot.
So the first thing to do is, you can actually see the infrared, I think, with your iPhone. Do you have an iPhone or an Android phone?
I have an iPhone.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how you do this.
I think it's something about taking a picture of it with the iPhone turned on, or maybe putting it in video mode and pointing it at the iPhone.
You can use your camera app to make infrared light visible. If your camera wants to, if you want to try it out, turn on your phone's camera, aim it at the remote at the end where the light comes out, and look for a small light. So apparently the IR is, while invisible to your eye, is not invisible to your camera. Now, if the back camera doesn't work, try the forward-facing camera. Sometimes this is a capability that not all sensors have. But
Well,
that's
I'm
the
trying
first
it
thing
right
to
now,
do.
and guess what? It doesn't work.
Okay. So what? And are the IRs working right now or not working? Right
Absolutely. Everything's
Okay.
fine right now. It happened
but you can't
earlier in
see
the week,
the light.
and it happened about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
I love it. I love this question.
Isn't it great?
Now
And
you did the right thing because you pulled the blinds, because sometimes the sunlight can cause interference.
Yep. And one of these times was at night, but I still pulled the shade so that no light was getting in from the outside. I turned off all the lights in the room, closed the door, made sure it was pitch black.
Now, one
and
thing
still
to be
nothing.
careful of, it sounds like, do you have a lot of sun in that room? Because direct sunlight on the infrared receiver can blind it, not sometimes permanently.
I do have some light, but none of it's
Make
shining
sure it's not
directly
hitting
on
the
room.
receiver,
Yeah.
right?
But again, the first time it happened, it was at night. It was totally
The other thing to do is to take all but one remote out.
Yep.
And somewhere that it's not visible. IR works, infrared works line of sight because it has to see the light.
Buried them under the blankets.
Put it in
and
a
only
bag.
took one out of the,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I did. And I
make
took
sure
one
they're
out
not
at a
interfering
time.
with one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tried that.
Scooter X is suggesting that if the key of one of them is accidentally stuck, its IR signal will then prevent all the others from working as well.
Yep.
So,
and that's why I took the batteries out of all of them.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. Once you take the battery out, it's not emitting any light.
Right.
You got us a good mystery. I like this. We need Sherlock Holmes here. So
and again, it's intermittent. I mean, it's only happened twice, but when it does, I'm the first time I was trying to go to sleep and I'm in bed, I'm turning everything off. I hit the button and it shuts off the sound bar and the TV and the cable box. It wouldn't go off. So
John, do we have an infrared remote here somewhere? I just want to see if I can get a picture of the light. We must have something. Yes, John's bringing me his infrared remote. Just to see. Oh, we have a few. By the way, do we ever have trouble with these interfering with one another? No. All right. Well, let me see. Now I can't see any light there, but let's see if my camera can see. No, it can't. Let's see if the other side can see it. Let's see if I can point it there. No, it can't. Oh, yeah. See, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a slight. I could see the blinking, and that's on the front-facing camera on this one. Let me try it with a Samsung, just out of curiosity. So I can see the light on the front-facing camera on my iPhone. I can see that it's actually, it looks like it's blinking. Not very bright, but I can at least see it. Here is my Samsung. Let's see if I can see yeah. I can see it pretty clearly in my Samsung on the back one. So, yeah, keep looking. I mean, that's not going to help
in too
you.
bright a room
it
right
works
now.
sometimes, so I don't know how that's going to tell you anything. But next time this happens,
sure,
you can at least point it at your camera and see if you see. It's not real bright. It's just a dim, but you can just see a dim flickering.
Sure. But what's interesting is that I have, like, for my sound bar, I can operate the sound bar with either the remote from the sound bar, with the remote that works with Time Warner, that's the complete spectrum, the full remote, or I can operate it with my TV remote because I have it keyed that way. It didn't work with any of them.
Very odd.
And I have
you don't have
a
prankster friend, do you?
No. And for I have a C Crane Wi-Fi radio that also has a great remote on it. I have two different remotes for it. I have the exact same model remote, but I have two remotes, one in one place, one in another. Neither one would work.
You got us. You've stumped.
Yeah.
You've stumped everybody.
I knew it would be a beaut, and I wasn't sure if there'd be a solution, but at least I thought you might find it interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
It's not a printer question.
But Micah, if somebody will eventually send me an email or call in and say, hey, I know what it is, but I can't imagine. You can build infrared jammers. That's why I asked if you had a prankster friend. It's possible to jam infrared. So here's what I'm going to guess. There is something emitting infrared in your room. Maybe an alarm clock. I don't know what, but there's something emitting periodically infrared in your room that's jamming everything. Be my guess. And it's obviously something you're not thinking of as a remote. It's something else that's transmitting. That'd be I think that has to be, doesn't it?
The only thing I can think of too, but you know, like I said, I've gone through it all, and I thought you might have some other thoughts. And
love it.
It's a beaut.
Somebody will come up with something. That's fantastic.
I hope so.
Thank you,
Leo. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, Micah.
Call.
Any big airplane news these days?
Well, there's always big airplane news. The latest Airplane Geeks podcast was about the disaster of the R-101 Airship, which was a huge airship disaster that took place before the Hindenburg, killed more people, destroyed the whole British airship program, and nobody knows about it.
Oh.
So it was a fascinating story. We had an author that just put a book together about it, and that's the latest Airplane Geeks episode that came out on Wednesday.
Oh, sounds great. Was it also a hydrogen airship?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, see, that's explosive, obviously.
And then the other thing I'll tell you, which isn't quite airplane related, but I was a guest on the U.S. Naval History podcast.
Oh, interesting.
My grandfather served on a ship, the USS Memphis, which back in 1916 was picked up by a huge rogue wave off the shore of Santo Domingo. This was a huge cruiser, and thrown onto the rocks by this wave, battered about. And again, the greatest peacetime naval disaster in the history of the U.S. Navy. Nobody knows about it. There was a group of survivors that I met when I was 12 and 13 years old. And when I was 20 years old, they put me on the board, the executive board of this organization. And they're all gone now. I'm probably the last member of this group, but nobody knows the history of this ship. And I wanted to do my best to let them not be forgotten. So I was invited on this podcast, and we had a wonderful conversation about it, the U.S. Naval History podcast, if you want to hear about the wreck of the USS Memphis.
You know who's a fan of rigid airships is Daniel Suarez. He'll be on with the club on Thursday. In fact, was it Suarez, I think? Or no, maybe it was Neil Stevenson. It was in Neil Stevenson's terminal shock. Right? Wasn't it? Was there termination shock? Were there blimps in that? Or yes. And he envisioned a future where we would travel by airship because you can make them safe. You don't have to fill them with hydrogen.
Well, but it's not the hydrogen. There is an airship that's being developed called the Airlander in I can't remember whether it's Germany or the UK, and it's filled with helium. And they think that it's going to be an airship that's going to be for cargo and passengers. But the problem is the airships travel in the troposphere. Yeah. They don't fly above the weather.
Right.
So the weather is going to bring them down. The USS Akron and the USS Macon, two huge naval airships, weren't destroyed because they were filled with helium. They weren't destroyed because of the helium. They were destroyed because they got tossed around and thrown into the sea.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay.
And that's what happens. And an airship, this is my opinion, and I have many people that argue with me about it, but I just don't believe that an airship is really going to be something that we will see long term because you can't get around the weather.
Right.
Blimps are one thing, and they only fly in good weather.
Right.
And but a long distance airship, just it can happen and it can work, but it was even the weather that destroyed the Hindenburg and probably would have brought it down if it weren't for the hydrogen, because it was the weather that made it crash.
Right. Hey, we've got one more thought from Dr. Mom. She says space heaters and electric blankets can interfere with infrared signals.
Thank God I don't have either in my room.
Damn, I thought we had it. This is the IR remote control jammer from Instructables. And you see it has a number of light emitting diodes here on the end. There are 6 different frequencies used by infrared. So a jammer has to actually jam on 6 different frequencies in order to work.
That's like have you ever heard of the device called the TV Be Gone?
Yeah, I love TV Be Gone. I think we had the inventor on our show way back in the day.
from years ago, but they still work.
You go in a bar, you press a button, all the TVs go off.
Or if you're in a doctor's waiting room or an airport,
Anywhere.
or all those places where they have those things blaring.
Nice.
It's great.
Nice. Hey, thank you, Micah. Thank you for giving us the puzzler of the week. We'll see if we can.
Happy to help, and thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Take care, Micah. We'll see if we can think about that. Get our Sherlock Holmes caps on and try to figure out what's going on there. We'll have more in just a bit. You're watching Ask the Tech Guy. Micah has the week off. Phone number 888-724-2884. We welcome your calls. You can also use Zoom if you call.twit.tv. That's the website. Do that in your browser on any device. It should open Zoom. Call.twit.tv. Emery is on the line on an iPhone. That's what it says anyway. Maybe Emery can tell us how the jammer is working. Emery, are you there?
I believe I'm there, yes.
Yay!
Can you hear me?
I can. Where are you calling from?
Griffin, Georgia.
Beautiful. Oh, we can see you too.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Time listener and a first-time caller, so excited to talk to you.
Welcome.
And I don't think I can help you with your previous question, but I have what I think might be kind of a fun question for you. My wife and I are building a house, and so what considerations do I need to think about as we're building this house? As far as I know, you've spoken before about putting Ethernet in there. I currently have a mesh routing system, and I'm pretty happy with that. But just kind of wondered, if you were building a house tomorrow, what thoughts would you have?
Yeah, I this is funny because for years I would say, oh yeah, put Ethernet in, but Wi-Fi has really taken over. And as you say, with your mesh, you're getting a pretty good signal. It's not so much of a problem. I think if you wanted to future-proof it, though, I would not put in any particular kind of cable, but I would put conduit in some of the areas, especially where you're going to have a TV set. A TV set. Boy, I dated myself with that. Do people call them TV sets anymore? A television display, your home entertainment system. Because even though Wi-Fi works great, it's nice to have hardwired in some places, maybe where your desks would be if you've got a home office, or if you've got a student where their desk might be in their bedroom. Having conduit go to there is kind of an inexpensive, relatively, way to future-proof it, because you can always pull whatever wire you need. You know, I imagine someday we'll have fiber in our homes everywhere, and you'll, 20 years from now be saying, gosh, I wish I had that 20 gigabit fiber coming out of my wall here for my super-duper, holodeck room. And then you'll say, well, I could just pull it through the conduit. So that's the one thing I do. We actually retrofitted our house. It wasn't built that way. It wasn't built with Ethernet. So we had somebody come in and run it down through the walls and so forth. And it's not so expensive. It's so horrible to do that. But I think if I were building it today, I'd probably put in a conduit. Now, there are a lot of other things. I'm sure you're thinking about things like using a heat pump instead of an air conditioner and heater. If you're building and starting, it's more expensive. We have retrofitted with heat pumps our house, and it was a very costly retrofit. You might want to look at, I'm looking ahead to the future where power cuts are perhaps going to be common. Might be worth having a generator. There are great propane generators out there right now that'll keep your house running. Or we put in Tesla Powerwall batteries. Same thing. I'm a big fan of solar. Having power, your own power is very nice.
Yeah, we definitely had planned on that.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into the Tesla Powerwall too much at this point. What's your experience been with that?
It's expensive also. They're thousands of dollars each. You have to have enough units to power the whole house. The reason we got it is because we do have a number of power cuts here because of wildfires, and we have a well. So we need electricity to get water. I can survive. I can survive without the TV and the computer for a day or two, but I can't survive without water and toilets that work and things like that. So we decided to have the power walls as backup, and it's at great expense put in I think 60 solar panels and 2 power walls. It's a nice feeling. I don't know if it's economical. It's a nice feeling to know that I could live off the grid if I had to, because the power walls would charge during the day. But I have no negatives. We haven't had to rely on them particularly. They fail over automatically. So in the one time that we noticed it, there was a millisecond or two between the failover, which was enough to kill some things like computers. I don't know if that might have been a firmware issue, because I haven't seen it happen since. And I think the funny thing is we don't know when the power goes out anymore, because it switches over and we continue to operate. And I suspect we've had more power outages and that there was no delay.
You have one power wall or 2 for your house?
We have 2. I should probably have gotten a third, because it's not only a 5,000 square foot house. The real issue is that well, which takes a lot of juice to start up, a lot of amperage to start up. Probably would have done better with 3, but 2 has worked. 2 would get us through the night with reduced use. Solar's great, and again, whether it's economical is going to depend on your area and so forth. I suspect you get a lot of sun in Georgia, but it's expensive still to put in solar. I love having it. Yeah. I'm glad we did. But
yeah, I think we're trying. We definitely thought about either, like you said, the generator or a Tesla Powerwall.
Generator is much more economical, and if your power doesn't go out a lot, probably a better solution. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but the main thing, from a tech guy point of view, the main thing is that conduit. When your installers do it, they'll run fishing. If they don't tell them to, run fishing line through it, so you have an easy way to pull cable through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at this point, you wouldn't necessarily suggest a Cat 5 or Cat 6 cable or anything.
No,
like
because
that.
I think that's changing. That's why you do the conduit. That means you could put anything in there. If you're happy with the mesh, you don't ever have to wire it, but it's there, and that's the main thing. Yep.
All right. Sounds good.
Hey, it's really nice to talk to you. Now that
Thank
you found us, I hope you'll come back again.
All righty. Thank you.
Great. Take care. It's good to think about this ahead of time. When you're building, you get the opportunity to do all that. There's lots of things you could think about. I often dream, building our dream house, and we have friends who built a house with the hay bales in the walls, so it's insulated with the hay bales, and then they had radiant heat in the floor. They're very thick, the walls. I think it's a concrete house, so it has the insulation and you put radiant heat in the concrete as they laid it and stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do these days if you're building. We're very happy that we put in the wire. We did that during COVID because our son was doing school via Zoom. Lisa and I were working at home. I wanted to be able to do the shows if I had to from home. We had a good wireless system installed, but it was really nice to also have Ethernet at the home entertainment centers and at the desks. That's where you really want it. Let's see.
Do you want to do a quick voicemail before Johnny Jet?
Oh, we've got voicemails. Yes.
Hey, Leo. Scott Robinson calling from California.
Hi, Scott.
Santa Barbara. I just want to figure out, I need to get a DVR. It's for cable. And I just want to know what DVR is the best one to get. I want to spend a lot of money, but I want to be able to record all this stuff. And I don't know if DVRs require a subscription. I know some do, but I need some info. Please help. Thanks.
Yeah, so I have TiVos. Now, you said with cable. That's important. There are DVRs that do over the air, and there are DVRs that do cable. The FCC requires your cable company to offer something called a cable card. And TiVo, for instance, offers versions of the TiVo DVR that take the card. It looks like it is a PCM CIA card, if you remember those. It's a credit card sized card that has in it the chip that verifies that you are, in fact, a subscriber. It turns the TiVo into a cable box. But you have to be able to get that from your cable company. So, and they are... despite the fact they're required to offer it, they are reluctant. You'll also pay rent for it, and they may charge you a lot. So first thing is inquire from your cable company. Do you support cable card? And if you do, how much is it going to cost me? But I have TiVo devices. I think TiVo probably makes the best, DVR. They've been in it the longest. If you don't want to go with this, but it does require a subscription, either lifetime or month to month. If you don't want to go with a TiVo, there are some other companies that do this kind of thing. I think probably the best is the HD Home Run. Let me pull this site up. They also, from Silicon Dust. Now I have to look and see if they support the cable card because they had offered something or said they were going to offer something that did. And then, looks like they do. And this has 6 tuners in it, which is great. It means you can record 6 different shows. The nice thing about the HD Home Run is you only have one device hooked up to the cable, and then it's hooked up to your network, which means you can then use the Channel Master app, iOS, Android, Windows, Linux, Mac, Xbox, and so forth. Maybe not Linux, to Roku, to watch on any TV. So in effect, you don't have to get multiple cable cards. We have a cable card for every TiVo. That's kind of annoying. You only have to get one cable card for this Channel Master. Make sure you get the one that supports cable. It will record, or you can hook up a hard drive to it or attach it to a NAS, but it will also play content, including protected content, across the network, so you can watch it on any TV in the house. So that's probably the best idea, and I don't believe this requires a subscription. You might want to pay a subscription to get the channel guide. That's one of the things you're paying for often with these things. So to get the cable TV, you want the HD Home Run Prime, and they finally did ship it. It looks like I was checking this every day for a year, and they finally did ship it. So this. Nope, they didn't ship it. In development. It's been in development now for 3 or 4 years. Oh dear, and it looks like, unfortunately, the cable companies are no longer required to offer cable card, which is very disappointing. So that means, yes, you absolutely have to contact your cable company. The FCC let them off the hook. Oh, come on, man. So check with your cable company first to make sure that they will offer a cable card. That's what lets you watch the cable content. It's what says, I'm a customer. These cable companies, I swear. As I said, I think the cable companies already see the writing on the wall. Cable subscriptions are plummeting rapidly. The number of subscribers. And I think they finally have understood, Comcast and Cox and Spectrum and the rest, that they're really internet service providers. That's why their internet service costs have gone up. And eventually, I think that you'll get everything, what they call over the top, over your internet. So this cable card thing will go away. Maybe that was the FCC's reasoning. I think they did it prematurely. So check with your provider to see. They don't have to anymore, but many still do. Verizon does. I know Comcast, or I think Comcast does. My cable card still works. They haven't turned it off. I haven't tried to get a new one. We have one for every TiVo. That's how we had to do it. All right. I think it's time to go do a little traveling. Our traveling guy, Johnny Jet, in just a moment. He's been everywhere, man. I'll do the Johnny Cash honors. He's Johnny Jet, traveling guy, johnnyjet.com. His travel newsletters are free from johnnyjet.com. You still do the YouTube and the Insta and the...
Yes. Insta, not as much, but YouTube, I've just started picking it up again.
Good. You interviewed me, I know, for your YouTube channel.
I need to do it again.
Yeah. But the website is the locus, the heart of the Johnny Jet operation.
Definitely.
Hey, Johnny.
Thanks to Google, I've had some stories go viral this week.
All right. Tell us about them. What are the big stories in travel?
Well, one, I'm sure you just talked about. I missed the beginning of the show, but I'm sure you've been talking about Spectrum. I heard a little bit just.
I
now.
just mentioned it briefly. Tell us what's happening.
Well, I mean, this is just a personal thing, but I ended up making a newsletter out of it and a post and put it in my newsletter yesterday. Just saying, this is one way I'm saving saving money for travel. I just saved over $100 a month by calling them up the other day when I found out that they, I tried to log on and see ESPN. They're like, I had a big notice on my screen saying, sorry.
They're in a tiff with Disney, which owns ABC, Disney Plus, all the ESPN channels.
Freeform. I mean, there's a lot of channels.
They own it all. National Geographic. And at this point, was it Spectrum that said bye-bye Disney?
I'm not sure the whole inside story, but I think Disney's the one that said, you know what? You take it. And they basically said, sorry, we're pulling our stuff.
And I've heard that this is not your usual carriage fight. This happens all the time where, DirecTV doesn't want to pay the extra money for a channel and says, we're going to pull you and blah, blah, blah. And eventually they work it out because people, it always, by the way, seems to happen the week before NFL season begins.
The day before college football.
College football began this weekend. Next week, it's the NFL. It's interesting how that happens, isn't it?
Yes, very interesting.
They know people like Johnny will get very upset.
I mean, listen, my bill's been going up. It creeps up like every 6 months or so. And finally, this was like the camel that broke the straw.
Can we agree that cable companies are the evil empire? And we need a rebellion because this is ridiculous.
I was paying $233 a month. This is before the streaming services. And I've been meaning to call them, but they don't give you a callback option. You got to wait on hold. I waited over an hour on hold and I was fuming. Anyway, I got my bill lowered by over $100 and he gave me the highest Wi-Fi speed, internet speed, which I thought I already had. And threw in Peacock Premium. So I wrote a post about it.
It's real brinksmanship on Spectrum's part because there is that risk that people will finally say, time to cut the cord. Screw you.
Well, people are. And I was ready to. It wasn't like I was bluffing. I was ready to cut it. I was going to YouTube TV. I was going to get a T-Mobile hotspot. And I was just going to say, see ya. But, now I'm paying $114, I think.
Here's Spectrum's site. What happened to my Disney-owned channels? Now, this is Spectrum's point of view, but essentially Disney and Spectrum couldn't come to an agreement on what to pay. Right. Spectrum says, we offer Disney a fair deal, but they're demanding an excessive increase. Disney, for their part, is hoping you will notice the lack of the U.S. Open, college football, the NFL, and we'll call Spectrum and say, what the heck is going on?
They lost a lot of money. I mean, the guy, the reservation guy or whatever you want to call him, the agent, he couldn't have been any nicer. And we talked fantasy
football. He knew what was going on.
He was like, listen, people are pissed.
Yeah.
And I was one of them. And, I got my bill. I'm saving $1,200 a year now, which is going right to my travel.
Good job. You should always do this. Every year, make a note in your calendar. Call the cable company and complain because they'll often, what you'll get is the retention expert who will have some deals in her pocket that she can offer you.
Right.
Here is, just to be fair, the Disney version of this, keepmynetworks.com, where they're explaining what happened. So switch providers. That's their answer. Switch providers. I think it's a brinksmanship on both parts because we know Disney's losing a lot of money on their Disney Plus property. We know these are two troubled industries fighting over the last scraps of their dignity. It's sad.
Yeah, I think Spectrum's going to lose on this one.
Well, usually that's what happens. They almost always come to a deal right before kickoff.
Exactly.
They'll solve this. But I think maybe it's time for us users to stand up and be candid and say, you know what? The heck with cable. We're going to cut the cord. Right. It's not going to save you money. You're going to still need to buy internet from them. But I think it's time for me. And there's some good services out there like Hulu and YouTube TV that'll give you your local channels if you have to have those. Again, not to save money, but just to send a message to these rapacious cable companies. Right. But what about travel?
Yeah. So my other post that went really viral was I wrote a post saying Maui desperately needs visitors. Hawaiian Airlines offering $82.
Wait a minute. No. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I know.
The Hawaiians are saying, go away, stay home.
I know. So, right after the fire, the government, Maui tourism, the Hollywood actors like The Rock and Jason, whatever the guy's last name is, Aquaman.
Momoa.
Yeah, Momoa, Aquaman. They're saying stay away. I wrote a post saying stay away from Maui, do not go, even stay away from Hawaii. And then a few days later, the government started changing their tune.
Yeah, because you know why? That's the number one resource for money.
Yeah.
Tourism.
So then I thought I was doing a favor. I wrote this post a few days ago. Hawaiian Airlines sent an email right when I was finishing my post saying that we're putting flights on sale for $82 one way, which is unheard of to Maui.
Oh.
And this was Wednesday. This was this Wednesday I wrote the post. And I was like, my God, we should go this weekend. I almost went this weekend. It was $197 round trip to go Friday and come back on Monday.
But when you get there, how friendly are Hawaiians going to be to you?
So this was my big thing. I interviewed a local. One of my friends owns a business there. I talked to the Maui Visitors Bureau. Sorry. And they're all like, we need people. Tell them to come. Businesses are closing. But I could not get a native Hawaiian from Maui on camera to say, please come.
Yeah.
So I've been getting a lot of nasty comments and even gotten phone calls from people who, the last thing I want to do is cause more stress. I thought I was helping people by, they're saying they need visitors.
Well, there's a disconnect here. My physician, I was talking to my doctor, Dr. Pike. He was there for a conference at the new hotel in Kaanapali, I think the Ritz. And Monday, he said the winds were really strong. We could hardly walk. Tuesday, they look over and there's this glow coming from Lahaina. Everything was cut off, power, water. They couldn't leave. They were stuck there for 5 days. But this is the reason I'm bringing this up. He said, no matter where we went, dirty looks from the Hawaiians. They were not happy to have us there. And I still think that you're going to get those dirty looks if you go. And that's the problem. Now, I guess
I agree now. I agree.
Yeah. If you stay in the resort, but the problem is they're staffed by people who lived in Lahaina. He said everybody in the resort had lost their home in Lahaina. Of course they were angry.
Right.
So I understand that this is it. This is their chief source of money.
Well, 80% of their money comes from tourism. And actually today is the first day Norwegian Cruise Line's going back to Maui. Today I'm waiting to find out how that goes over. But, they're saying definitely do not go near West Maui. You stay away from Lahaina, Kaanapali, Kapalua. You can't even go over there. But
Wailea is okay. It's untouched.
Wailea is fine.
How about Hana? I love Hana.
Yes, they're saying go to Hana too. Although hotel prices are still high, but there's a lot of vacancies. And I've read some articles that other people, like New York Times, they interviewed all these different restaurants and people are like, we've been living here for 30 years. We were trying to get people to come here and work. Now we're telling people to stay home because there's not enough business.
You quote Mike Bender as saying, respect the West, but visit the rest.
Well, actually, that's the Maui tourism slogan now, I think. Mike Binder, my buddy Mike, he lives part-time in Maui. He owns the zip line in Kapalua, near the Ritz.
Yeah.
And, they shut down. He's like, listen, I'll survive. It's fine. But, he's going to go back. I think they're telling everyone like October 17th.
Remember, this is right on the heels of 2 years of no tourism because of COVID. Right. So this is really hard. And I have such respect for the Polynesian culture, for the Hawaiian culture, for the native Hawaiians. We have done them dirt for years, centuries. And I understand that they want to protect what's left of their island home.
I don't blame them. And yet, it's a sticky situation.
And yet I love Hawaii. Now, we have somebody in our chat room, Big Island, says, of course we welcome tourists. Most Hawaiians are very welcoming, of course, and that's on the Big Island.
No, but even in Maui, they were too. It really depends on the person. Like, as a traveler, as an expert traveler, I know to go into places with an open heart and open head. You really got to adapt to their cultures. You never want to be one of these real.
No, that's one of the beautiful things about Hawaii is there is a culture there that's amazing.
Yes.
And that deep Polynesian culture is a beautiful culture and fascinating. And that's one of the things I enjoy. We loved going to Hana because it was somewhat unspoiled. And there really was a sense of going back to old Hawaii that I really liked. I'm not a fan of Wailea. It's so built up and so different. It's really become.
Yeah. We were there in January. We stayed in Wailea, but we also stayed in Kanapali at the beach resort,
Lahaina.
which now just got bought by Outrigger.
I'm very sad about what's happened to Lahaina.
It's crushing. I mean, I can't imagine what people are going through. But anyway, so that post went viral. I do have.
So what's the conclusion? Is go or don't go?
They're all saying go, but stay away from West Maui and go with respect. And there's going to be some, and also volunteer, send money. There's going to be, some of the restaurants will be short staffed. Don't complain. There's not going to be a lot of things going on like luau's. So just
not a lot of celebration. And yet,
it's hard.
This is so important for
eat local,
their revenue.
Support the small businesses. Go and support the small businesses.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying. But
it's very tempting.
Stay away from the West.
Now, is Hawaiian Airlines owned by is it a Hawaiian company? It feels like it is.
It's definitely a Hawaiian company.
They say aloha and mahalo, and they were Polynesian.
When you step on the plane, you feel like
you're in Hawaii.
The islands. I love it.
So if they say it's okay, I guess, and then stay somewhere.
They're begging people, but
yeah. Well, our good friend Becky Worley, who grew up in Maui, and of course is ABC Good Morning America anchor, went back to Lahaina, to her home, and is helping people out. That's another thing you could do. I wonder if there is some sort of ecotourism you could go and help out. That'd be interesting.
The Hawaiians that I've spoken to all say just send money to their Maui Strong Fund.
Yep.
Is the best thing you can do right now. But
yeah,
tourism depends on it, and there's going to be a lot of difficult decisions.
You say in your story that West Maui's losing $9 million a day in lost tourist revenue.
Right.
Yikes.
But you can't put a figure on someone's life, and they lost so many friends.
I like this. It's go visit, but it's not Disneyland. Go with respect.
Right.
I like that too. And thoughtful.
Yes.
I love Hawaii. I've never had anything but an incredible experience there, and I love Hawaii.
Me too. I've probably been 30 times.
Yeah.
And,
for us on the West Coast, that's the place to go. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Johnny. We have time for tech or no?
Yeah. What else?
So, this, I think it was this week or last week, Google came out. They have a new survey. They also released a new product where, if they're really confident in one of the flights that you're pricing out in Google Flights, that they'll put a colorful price badge, colorful guarantee price badge, saying that if, they're so confident that the price they're showing that it will not drop. And if it does, they'll check the flight every day before departure, and they'll pay you the difference via Google Pay. It's a pilot program.
This is the price guarantee for some flights. Google pays you the difference if the price drops. That's nice, but it has to have that special colorful.
It does. And
is that it? Is this it? What does it look like? I don't.
I have a screenshot on my story. I'll pop it in the chat room.
Everybody just go to johnnyjet.com. And
I'll just pop in the chat room right now too.
I already bought my tickets to Rhode Island. I'm going next week. Actually, a week from tonight.
Good to see your mom.
To see my mom. Yep.
Great. Well, listen, even when I buy my flights, I use Google Flights, and I will put a fare alert on it. So if it drops significantly and you don't buy a basic economy ticket, you can then cancel that ticket, rebook, and get a travel credit. And I've done that actually on United on a flight to Hawaii once. And we just used it on that flight to San Francisco that we did a few weeks ago.
It is going to depend on the airline though, right?
It does, and you can't buy the basic economy tickets. But for Google Flights, I'm pretty sure they're only using Alaska Airlines, Spirit Airlines, I think Hawaiian actually, and it's only for flights departing from the U.S.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. But they also came out, what's interesting is that they have a new booking trend. They had one last year, but they changed it. So they're saying, the best time to buy Christmas flights is 71 days before departure. That's the sweet spot, they say, which is October 12th if you want to leave on December 22nd, which is a Friday. And also they have a sweet spot for Europe anytime. And they say that is, how many days? I think it's 72 days. I got to read my own story. But anyway, it's April 20th if you want to leave July 1st.
Okay. This is good. By the way, you got this story from our friend Rich DeMuro, it looks like.
Which one?
The Google flight story.
No.
As Rich DeMuro of LA's KTLA has reported, the Google price guarantee is still in testing. No, you knew about it beforehand, but he says
Google sent it to me directly.
Okay.
I mean, but listen, Rich, I'm friends with Rich, and I get some stuff from him, but I did not get this one.
Okay, credit where credit is not due.
and I love Rich.
JohnnyJet.com. We love you, Johnny Jet, our traveling guy. Go there, read his articles, subscribe to the newsletter, check out his YouTube channel. There's going to be more stuff there soon. Thank you, Johnny Jet.
Thank you. Take care.
Great to talk to you.
Lisa.
Mahalo and aloha. Bye-bye. You're watching Ask the Tech Guy. We have a few more minutes. What do you think, Mr. Producer Man?
There is Daniel on the phone. We could try that.
I see Michelle came back. Should I try again with Michelle?
I would suggest let's try Daniel.
Okay, let's try Daniel. And we'll see if we can get Michelle. We'll check on Michelle first to make sure her audio is working. Daniel joining us. *6 to unmute. And welcome to Ask the Tech Guys. Join us in the Stargate. I don't know why
Hey, Leo.
I call it the Stargate. Hi, Daniel. Where are you calling from?
Fresno.
Beautiful Fresno, where it's 1,000 degrees right now, I bet.
No, actually, it's about 78, 80 degrees today. It's one of our cooler days. Yeah.
How nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but...
Yeah, we noticed the same thing up here. And Lisa's saying, I don't know why, but let's keep it this way. It's been a hot
saying
summer.
In the next couple of days, it'll start to warm up a little bit more, but hopefully the last of our 105, 106 days are gone.
It was so hot this summer. Daniel, what can I do for you, my friend?
Well, I'm thinking about upgrading my iPhone 12 once they announce the new one.
There's a new one coming a week from Tuesday.
Yeah, but I'm tired of buying all these charging cables.
Well, good news. It's going to use Type-C.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm actually trying to see if just going with wireless would be better.
Oh, yeah. I think Apple.
Around the house.
So Apple is doing Type-C now. That shift from the Lightning cable to Type-C, only because it's kind of being mandated by the EU, and Apple's kind of going, oh, all right, if you insist. But truthfully, we've long thought that Apple's plan is to go fully wireless, not to have any openings on the phone. They got rid of the headphone jack, as you know, and they'd like to get rid of the Lightning port or the Type-C port because it helps with waterproofing the phone. So I think the MagSafe solutions they've got are quite good. Now, when you do get your phone, you use a case probably, right?
Right. Right now I'm using one of the Pelican cases.
Yeah, so you should check to see if you can do MagSafe charging. That's their wireless charging through that case. For instance, this nice leather wallet case is too thick. So, I mean, it kind of sort of can, but Apple sells MagSafe cases. You know they're MagSafe because they have that circle on the back. That's where the magnets line up. And if you have you could use a regular Qi charger, a non-MagSafe charger. But the nice thing about the MagSafes is they attach very securely magnetically. So you just know, and this is the only negative on wireless charging, is when you put it on the wireless charger, sometimes it's not charging. It slips off or it moves because it's just kind of wobbly. And so for that reason, I think get the MagSafe compatible chargers, because those really hold on tight and you know you're charging. You will very clearly know you're charging. Apple sells a variety.
Okay, that's one of the things that I was kind of worried about that too, because of the placement. Because I'm blind, I'm never sure if I would get
then it's a
the
must.
placement correct.
Then it's a must.
Yeah,
because you can feel it. It'll grab it, and you'll know it's in place. It even makes a sound. It'll let you know that it's charging. That's absolutely a must. Even for those of us with sight, it's hard. If you're blind, I think absolutely get the MagSafe. And there's a third-party MagSafe as well.
Or no?
It is fast-ish.
Okay.
Think of it as overnight.
Right.
I think it's 15 watt. I don't think it's faster than that. I can't remember the exact speed. You should check. Apple's will be faster than some of the third parties for sure. Lisa loves her MagSafe charger, which is a little stand. She charges her watch and her stand at the same time. That's from Nomad Case. Is it nomadcase.com? It's Nomad. They make a very nice one. There are a lot of very nice MagSafe chargers from Apple and others. Apple's are always going to be a little more expensive, but you're already buying the most expensive phone on the market probably. So rumors are there's going to be a bump in the price on the top of the line iPhone 15s. We will see a week from Tuesday.
Let me ask you something else. I use an app called it was Be My Eyes.
Yes.
And now they switched it over to Be My AI.
Right.
And they're using artificial intelligence to be able to describe pictures even in more detail than they were before. You can actually ask it questions. You can say, if it's a picture of, say, at Walt Disney World and you got the castle in the background, you can ask it for more details, and it actually will go out and describe in detail what's in the picture.
So I've been wanting to ask you about this. I wanted to talk to a Be My Eyes user. Be My Eyes is such a great idea, but it used humans. So you would open Be My Eyes and you might have to wait a while for a human to say, yeah, I'll volunteer. Let me see what you're looking at. Now they're using AI. What's your experience been? Has it been pretty reliable?
It's been pretty reliable, and the details that it can give is impressive.
And you don't have to wait now, right, for a human to get on the line.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is, if it's, just the quality of the cameras on the iPhones or what. But I mean, it's reading like monitors, screens and television screens. Just out of curiosity, the other night, I was flipping through the channels and I took a picture of my TV, and it was on this pro wrestling show. It could tell that they were pro wrestlers. They could describe the audience. It described what they were wearing, the little logo on the mat. I mean, it was amazing. I've never been able to drill down to what detail these things can give you now.
That is fantastic. That is so good. And this is a free service. If you're blind, you absolutely have to have this on your iPhone or your Android phone. BeMyEyes.com. And I was very curious. I saw that they were using AI, and I thought that if that works, that's revolutionary, because now unlimited number of people can use it. You don't have to have volunteers to help. Although it was pretty cool to volunteer for Be My Eyes. That was a really fun thing to do.
You can do a little more with that if you have, the camera, or you have trouble getting the right angle on a picture or whatever. It's nice to be able to do the video.
And a human, you can ask them questions and drill down a little bit better probably than the AI. Although I have to say,
the one thing
go ahead.
The one thing I do wish it would do, and it was doing it before, but it's not anymore, and that's describe people. Some
that's
of us
probably
have
for
always
privacy.
Know what people.
I'm wondering if that's for privacy.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah. Because it certainly has the capability. There's no question about that.
I just wish there was a way of getting, say, like an exemption for people who are, visually impaired. I mean, we don't get the same information that everybody, the sighted person gets, in a picture. Because of that,
So you wanted to say, oh, he's got a big red beard and he's wearing sunglasses and that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But I get it. Some people don't like that, but
especially now that they've added AI, they're really sensitive about that, which is odd because honestly, AI is more privacy focused because it's just a machine. It doesn't keep track of it than a human, but I guess that's just how they're going to do it.
And it's, really detail oriented. It's not, is this person pretty or ugly or whatever?
Yeah, you're not asking for value judgments.
Right.
Although,
exactly.
I guess you could with a human, couldn't you?
Hey, with a human you can.
Do you think I should ask her out? Tell me, what do you think? Is she cute?
Yeah, with the AI, it would be better because you would just get details instead of, values, but I guess not.
Oh, that's it. I never thought of that, but I think that's probably a privacy concern.
Yeah.
I just think these guys are doing a great thing. They have had, according to the website, over the span of the app, 6.8 million volunteers have helped 525,000 blind and low vision users see in 150 countries and 180 languages. But adding AI just really makes it even more accessible. I think it's, especially if it's accurate, that's the real key. It has to be accurate too. Well,
like I said, the details are impressive. I was kind of surprised. They were doing a slow rollout of the AI feature.
Yeah.
And I just got it a couple of days ago.
Nice.
So I've been playing with it a lot. And
it's amazing. Really, what a world. There's a really good example, for all the negatives I and others have, mentioned about AI. This is a really great use of it. That's fantastic. It's using a ChatGPT-4, which is very, very smart. Hey, Daniel, a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for listening to the show.
Okay. Thanks, Leo.
Have a great day. Take care.
You too. Bye.
I don't want to pick up another call because it's so late in the day. I hate to say it, I think we're done. Don't you hate it when the show ends? I do. Well, we'll come back next week and we can talk some more. We do the show, if you want to call in live, we do the show every Sunday from 11:11 a.m. Pacific time. Because we never can quite start at 11:11 a.m. Pacific time to 1:30 Pacific. So that translates, let's just say from, you can come in a little bit early. Wouldn't hurt. Maybe we'd start early. That's 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. That's 1800 UTC. And so if you want to call live, that's the time to do it on Sundays. The live stream, if you want to watch live, is live.twit.tv. You saw already, you can call .twit.tv to zoom in live. Now, I should mention, if you call our phone number during any other time of the week, 888-724-2884, you can leave a voicemail like we just did. And that, I think, was Scott. That way you can leave a question and we'll do more voicemails. We'll do more emails to atg@twit.tv. I love it that you watch. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I was worried when I retired from the Tech Guy show I wasn't going to get to talk to y'all. And so thank you for being here and keeping me company, because I didn't want to abandon you. I just thought we could do this as a podcast. Micah, I hope you feel better, dude. I want you back next week. This is a hard show to do all by myself. Micah Sargent, feel better. Stay tuned. This Week in Tech is coming up as soon as we fix the set up. If you don't watch live, of course, you can get this show on the website. Still techguylabs.com, by the way. That still works. And that points you right to our website with the show notes, with audio versions of the show, video versions you can download. You can also watch it on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to Ask the Tech Guys. And, of course, you can subscribe. Just search for Ask the Tech Guys in your favorite podcast player. It might even be the old Tech Guy feed. It's the same feed. Some podcast directories haven't yet updated that. If it says The Tech Guy Show with Leo Laporte, I know somebody did. In fact, I noticed one radio station still said I was on. They haven't figured out that Rich DeMuro took it over. But it's the same show, Tech Guy Podcast. That should get you the podcast so you can listen at your leisure any time of the day or night. Don't forget to join the club. Club Twit is $7 a month. Lots of benefits. Twit.tv/ClubTwit helps us out, helps us keep the show going. What else? Anything else I need to mention. Thursday on the club, Hugh Howey and Daniel Suarez. That should be amazing. For our friends at Burning Man, including Corey Doctorow and Rebecca Giblin, stay safe. Save some crackers for tomorrow. I hope you get out soon. We'll see you all next time. Have a great Geek Week. Bye-bye.
Hey, we should talk Linux. It's the operating system that runs the internet, a bunch of game consoles, cell phones, and maybe even the machine on your desk. But you already knew all that. What you may not know is that Twit now has a show dedicated to it, the Untitled Linux Show. Whether you're a Linux pro, a burgeoning sysadmin, or just curious what the big deal is, you should join us on the Club Twit Discord every Saturday afternoon for news, analysis, and tips to sharpen your Linux skills. And then make sure you subscribe to the Club Twit exclusive Untitled Linux Show. Wait, you're not a Club Twit member yet? Well, go to twit.tv/clubtwit and sign up. Hope to see you there.